Hey Faithful, welcome back to the Saloon presented by Cisco. The 49ers are 3-1 after a hard-fought loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 4. I'm your 49ers team reporter, Briana Jeannel, here to break down all the action from Sunday's game and look forward to Thursday Night Football in Los Angeles against the Rams. In this episode, you'll get to hear from tight end Luke Farrell, our 49ers insiders, and Richard Sherman from Prime's Thursday Night Football. Don't forget to subscribe to the Saloon on YouTube, SiriusXM, and your favorite podcast platform. Now, here's all the action from Sunday's game. Joining me now are Jesús Zárate and Carlos Yustis to recap everything that happened in Week 4 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Guys, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you feeling after that Week 4 game? It was a tough loss, but sort of a close game towards the end.
Yes, definitely. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like if I was if I'm the team, I feel frustrated, very frustrated.
Yeah.
And not because of the loss. The problem is not losing, because sometimes when you feel that you want to forget about it and just move on, this one, you're frustrated because even though you made so many mistakes, and we talked about this before, this is a game that with the amount of mistakes you made, you should have lost by 2 or 3 possessions. And you still find yourself in that position when on the last drive you could have won the game. So that, to me, that makes it more frustrated because it shows you how deep your team is, how good you are, and it's only just those miscues that put you ahead. But the fact that you can come back, even though you didn't fully, but that you put yourself in a position to win after all those things is actually a pretty good thing for the team.
Yes, definitely. So it's definitely frustrating with everything that Carlos mentioned, the 4 turnovers, all the mistakes on offense, on defense, on special teams. So it was like mistakes all over the place. But still, even though with a game like that, where usually you're not gonna see the 49ers play that way. In fact, Christian McCaffrey said that after the game. He said it's uncharacteristic of having like all the receivers dropping footballs, including myself. That's what he mentioned. So yeah, you're definitely that's kind of in a way like the good thing, looking to the future, that you're not gonna see like the 49ers this way, and especially considering all the injuries the team is dealing with. I think it's awesome that the team was able to start the season 3-0, because now you have like that a little bit more like margin of error, kind of weather the storm until you get guys like Kittle back. Obviously you're now on a short week, but in a way that helps that you started 3-0. But definitely I agree with Carlos. It hurts that when you face a team like the Jaguars, obviously they're pretty good to force turnovers, and we mentioned it, like
they lead the league.
Yeah, definitely. So they're gonna take advantage, and I think there were like 2 key plays during the game. Remember that fumble by Luke Farrell? He fumbles the ball. Jacksonville recovers it, and then the next play is touchdown from ETN, 48 yards, TD on the ground, and then. The following in the second half, in the third quarter, you have that drop by Kendrick Bourne. Maybe if he catches that football, maybe he scores, or at least he gets into the red zone. But he's not able to hold on to the football, and then you have to punt. And on that punt, Jacksonville scores that 87-yard punt return. So yeah, those 2 plays, I look at them and it's like, I think that's where the game, if you had to pick like what moments you lost the game, I think those 2 stand out to me.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's such mixed emotions when you're reflecting on the game, because Jacksonville, they forced the Niners to make mistakes and then they capitalized on them.
Right.
But just like Carlos, you were saying, somehow the 49ers were still in it, which gives you some optimism. So it's a mixture of optimism, frustration, but at the end of the day, the Niners are flushing it. They're clearing their heads and their minds are on Thursday Night Football against their divisional opponent, the Los Angeles Rams. There's a lot to unpack, but first let's look into Sunday a little bit more. Christian McCaffrey, he talked after the game, obviously upset about the fumbles and the drop balls, but he still continues to be the engine of this offense. Another 100-plus yard game for him. What stood out to you about his role in Week 4?
Well, specifically that, right? He hasn't been able to establish the run for a myriad of reasons, and we'll talk about him a little later. But you find ways to make him help you, right? Because if he was a one-dimensional player and you had just to run him between the tackles, then, I mean, right now he would probably be injured, right? So you find ways to make him count. And he scores his first touchdown of the season. So it's important to get him involved, and you're finding ways to get him to the ball, because when you have a player with that caliber, with that ability, you have to find him in places where he can help you. And those passes to the flat, sometimes when they find him through the middle, he makes him count. And he had one explosive run after a pass that made a difference. So all those things make McCaffrey who he is. And the one thing that makes me very happy and I'm very happy for him is that I know how frustrated he was last year for not being available. And this year, even though we have this big list of players that are not available, he's healthy. He's looking good. He's helping where he can. And even if he had a couple of mistakes, he owns up to them. He knows exactly what he needs to do. And to me, that's better because you're going to find this next game on a short week. And players like him, you know that he's not going to make those mistakes again. And I'd rather have him, in a way, make them in a game like this so early in the season and then kind of turn it back for a game that is this important because it's the divisional game.
Valid. You don't want mistakes, but if they happen against an AFC opponent, it's not a divisional game. We'll take our grace where we could get it.
Yes, definitely. Because remember, we were also in a very close game with the Cardinals, and the Cardinals obviously is a divisional opponent, so you were able to get that win. But going back to McCaffrey, yeah, I totally agree with you, Carlos. McCaffrey, we know what McCaffrey brings to the table every time he's on the field, and he's proven that he's 100% because obviously it's human nature not to be concerned after what happened last year that he missed games, and he even mentioned it. I remember that week. Remember it was the first week of the season, like going into that Seattle game that Thursday when on the injury report
he was still a little questionable.
With the calf, and everybody started like freaking out, and I remember he talked to the media that Friday. And he says, I understand with my injury history, but he basically said, I guarantee that there's nothing to worry about. And so far, we already been 4 games with him, and he's proving that he's 100%. So that's a good thing. And obviously, now with all the injuries to the wide receiver group, obviously you're going to see McCaffrey in a normal situation when you have all your guys, Kittle, Jennings, healthy, everybody in there. He usually always impacts the games on the ground and on the air, but especially in this situation with guys, the wide receivers injured, not everybody on the field. He's been leading the team with receptions the last couple games.
Yeah, he becomes a huge target. Now that we're looking at the offense, I want to talk about Ricky Pearsall. He had an amazing game. He is dealing with a bit of an injury going into this Week 5 game, but he had that amazing one-handed catch. He was involved in that trick lateral play. Just how important is his development to this offense, especially stepping up as that wide receiver 1?
I think it's one of those moves in the draft where there was a lot of questions last year when he got picked first on the first round. Like it didn't seem like it was a necessity for the team at that specific time. Then unfortunately the thing off the field that happened to him that sidelined him for basically the whole season. This is technically his rookie year, to put it in a sense, right? It's the first year that he's able to have a full off season, that he's able to come in, and God, what a great player he is. Not only because of how I mean, you know better than us that you see them more often, but he's a great person. He works hard, and not just the raw talent that he shows like every single game. That's why it's so frustrating to see him not finish games, especially with something like this, that it's a knee soreness that is not necessarily like a full injury, but it's just like lagging in there and then doesn't allow you to perform, and it doesn't put you at a place that you want to be. But the fact that the Niners just have him, and first it shows you how good the scouting team is to pick players.
Yeah.
They don't hit every single one of them, but they hit more than they miss.
A great
majority. No one does. Yeah,
no one does.
No team,
but they hit the jackpot with this one, at least from what he's shown. I mean, you saw it again like that, picking that one-handed catch, just like how he returns to that ball where he sees it, where he knows where it is, that he makes the play for it. We had the 4-2 last week. There was a point that he had to show, and he showed up for it. So I think for the team to have him, it's amazing, and it just shows you how good of a work they do in the draft.
Yeah, definitely, and I like the fact that he's like translating everything we saw during training camp, because remember when we had these episodes like during training camp, we always say, oh, I like how Ricky Pearsall is doing, like he's catching everything in practice, and now he's translating that into the regular season, so that I like that consistency from Ricky Pearsall, and in a way it's also frustrating because with all the injuries, because I've been thinking like since the season started, oh man, when we get like Brandon Ayuk back, and then now you have Ricky Pearsall develop developing nicely. You have all these guys, Jawan Jennings, also the Marcus Robinson. I mean, the wide receiver group looks pretty good, but the problem is that the injuries right now, that they haven't been. In fact, Kyle Shanahan said, I think we haven't had like a practice where we have like everybody out there, but thinking in a big picture, like for the future, you like what you see on the 49ers wide receiver group.
Again, that makes you more optimistic. It's
Right.
week 5 and we still haven't seen the full team all together. We
Right.
still haven't seen all the pieces be put together. So it gives you something to look for later down the season, letting those players get the rest they need. This short week could be a good thing, that they have a quick practice, they play the game, and then they have a weekend of rest. And now they're more rested going into week 6. So you have to think big picture when it comes to a lot of these injuries and optimism for the team. Now let's shift over to the defensive side. I want to talk about Fred Warner, the leader of the defense. He actually did hit a huge milestone on Sunday, and I need to give him his props. Just how much of an impact does he have on this defense, not only being a speaker and leading the defense with how he talks and the way he brings the team together, but just his force on the field.
I mean, I think it's a consensus that the faithful likes Fred for a myriad of reasons too. Like, I mean, there's many reasons to like Fred Warner, but I feel like it's one of those things. Like, I think at this point, there's always that comparison with Patrick Willis, right? Because Patrick Willis is who he is.
Yes.
But I don't think they realize, like, because you have that, like, kind of like in the back of your head, you don't realize, like, Fred has broken a lot of records by Patrick Willis, and he's still really young. Like, Fred still has a lot of career in front of him. So I think that when everything's said and done, you're going to realize that we're probably looking at the best linebacker that has ever existed, period. Obviously, you know, he needs to continue to perform. He has to have the luck of stay healthy and all these things that usually don't accompany.
Yeah, because that's what didn't help Patrick.
Exactly.
Patrick Willis had to retire early.
Right.
Because of health issues.
But it's also the way he played the game, right?
Right,
sometimes one thing goes with the other. But that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I feel like at this point, like, you just see him perform in and out. Like, you have games like this one where you probably want him to get, you know, another fumble recovery, or maybe you're actually criticizing him because he didn't intercept the 2 balls that were close to him. But the reality is that every single thing that Fred does in and out every single day, and again, when everything's said and done, you're going to be like, dude, we have probably one of the best players of this game in the NFL that has ever existed. And that's, to me, is that very exciting. Especially now that we're still in like the month of Hispanic heritage, because he represents.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome to see him like with that Mexican flag on the back of and also the flag from Panamanian. Yeah, also sometimes. So it's amazing. Yeah, Fred Warner is an amazing player. I mean, in terms of leadership, what he brings to the table on the field. I mean, he's a great leader. And he's very smart. What impressed me the most about Fred Warner was during his rookie year. I remember in 2018. Immediately the team had the confidence in him to put the green dot behind his helmet, which means he needs like to make the call. To make the calls. He's like the quarterback of the defense, and to give that responsibility to a rookie, I mean that speaks for itself. Yeah, and I remember that, like, his very first game, he forced a fumble against the Vikings. So you immediately saw, like, even from his rookie year, that you had a very special player in Fred Warner.
Yeah, it shows just how disciplined he is.
Right.
Not only to be able to make those calls, but to make those reads on the field. His eyes are very disciplined. He doesn't get tricked up by the offense too often. So it's really fun to see him work, like you said, one of probably the best linebackers of all time. I'm excited to see how this season keeps going. Obviously, we completely pray that luck is on his side, that he's completely healthy, because I just love watching Fred Warner on the defense. Now, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the podcast. Mistakes were a factor in this game. Those 2 interceptions really swung the momentum for Brock Purdy. But how do you think he bounced back from those? Like we said, in that 4th quarter where you're starting to see some steam pick up by the offense, how do you answer the call after some mistakes are made?
I'm actually never worried about Brock, even when he throws that pick, because again, he takes responsibility, and sometimes he has the difference with Brock Purdy and his interceptions, and I always said this, is that Brock makes an interception because he forces the ball because he thinks he can do it, or he's used to doing it. He doesn't throw a pick because he just doesn't see a player. He just thinks that he can. It's like, I don't care that you're there. I'm still gonna throw it over you. So it's like, yeah, sometimes Brock like kind of like swings it a little too much. But and we saw it, like the second interception, because the first one, it's kind of like, I always hate to put those ones on the quarterback, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like mixed. Like, and we mentioned it. I actually think that pass was not for Christian McCaffrey. when we see the play developments, obviously we have a very good view because we're on the top of the stadium. That play gets broken. Brock extends it a little bit, and you have Jauan Jennings making a crossing route all the way on the back. And to me, it gave me the feeling that Brock saw him because he was getting separation, and he tried to go for him. But then Christian rerouted himself, and he turns around and sees the ball, and he thought he was coming his way, and he actually reached for it and going up for it. And I was like, I think that pass wasn't for you, and you kind of just made it for the defense. But those things happen, right? Like, again, like that's a mistake that happens. It's a game where sometimes luck is not on your side. Then the second pick, he does see the linebacker, but the linebacker makes a great play on it because he pinches back and he knows that Brock makes that throw over the middle usually. But then Brock did 3 more plays exactly like that over the same linebacker. So it was like, well, I missed that one, but then I'm going to get you. And then he gets him. So to me, I never worry about Brock. What worries me about Brock, and especially on this game, when you talk about mistakes, I feel that there was not so many mistakes in the sense like it was mistakes that he was doing, and that's how the game went. I think the limitation of his foot made a big impact because sometimes when the offensive line faces fronts like this one that put a lot of pressure on you, that come on you, Brock is very good at extending the play, getting out of the pocket, finding another way, or just runs it. And I feel because he has a soreness on the foot, he could not do it. So even when he felt it was like crunching on him, whatever, he rather took the sack or just threw it away or kind of forced a pass because he knew he couldn't take those yards in front of him because usually you just take off running. So I'm not worried about him because, again, it's not about a bouncing back. I just think that Brock at 100% is a whole different player.
Yeah, definitely. I think Brock Purdy is going to be fine. No quarterback in the NFL, even the best of the best, are perfect. They're going to have their games where
As Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Even Josh Allen on those playoff games, Mahomes. So all the guys make mistakes. Even the best quarterbacks, like the elite, the top 3, whatever you want to call them. But Brock Purdy, I think, is going to be fine. He just needs to get healthy. Have a normal week of practice because I think that's key to this whole situation. Because remember, in the game before the Cardinals, the week before the Cardinals game, he didn't practice. He didn't have a full practice. Wednesday was limited, Thursday limited, Friday limited, and then this past week before the game against the Jaguars, kind of the similar situation. Limited on Wednesday, limited on Thursday. Then Friday he was full participant in practice. But you guys know that Friday is usually just a walkthrough. So I think that that impacts how you do in the game because you're not having those reps with your wide receivers, or also speaking of the wide receivers, like I said earlier, you don't have everybody on the field. So
they're limited too.
Yeah. So all that has to we have to take that into account.
Yeah, and when it comes to his performance on Sunday, it's sort of the natural up and down of a quarterback play, like you guys had mentioned. And Carlos, to your point, the situation is also very complex. Kyle Shanahan said on his call on Monday that, yeah, it might be a little bit of the injury, but it also might be the natural flow of the game, what his preparation was like. Jesús, like you said, during practice, not being able to get a full week. So the situation was very complex, and there are just a lot of factors that played into the unfortunate loss. Now, injuries continue to be a storyline. We mentioned Brock a little bit. It was Purdy's toe, Pearsall's knee, Jauan's ribs. With a short turnaround before Thursday, how concerned should fans be about this team's health?
Well, I mean, in general, a lot of these are just nagging things that are probably, be able to be sorted out on the long term, hopefully. Because none of them really are like ligament damage or joint damage or bone damage. Like they're just, soreness basically, right? Like, again, just to people who probably don't play football or never play football in their life, these guys is like literally having a truck hit you. Like you imagine just going full speed, running at something, and then you have a truck that comes and cleans you over. Like you're not getting up from that hit like nothing ever happened. Like you're still gonna feel it. And a lot of those things are just, being hit on the wrong place at the wrong time, and it doesn't fully injury. It's not a full injury, but it makes you feel it, and then it limits you because you're not comfortable, right? You have that like soreness or something that doesn't allow you to take off because you just feel it. So in a short week, having those is concerning because the chances of you feeling better by Thursday to do it again are very slim, right? Especially depending on how sore you are. But if it's soreness like you did not practice and you feel it, the chance of you making it to Thursday are very slim. So that's a problem. Now, the problem also is that it's a divisional game. It's an important game. It's away. So those things kind of pile up on it. to be concerned, then it all depends on how the team looks. Because the other thing that could happen, because again, this is the NFL and anything can happen. After you come a game like that, right? Like with the pressures, with how the defense kind of dominated you, how they were established the run game, you're gonna face this game against a divisional opponent. But since you're just jaded from what just happened to you, you might come lights out. So that's a chance that can happen. Or you just don't recover and then you accumulate that second loss. So you don't know what exactly you're going to get. But there's always a chance that a lot of the things that you did not do right, especially in a game that you were able to power through and still make it to the last drive with a chance, there's things that are going to look better. There's things that you're going to improve and you're not going to let them happen again. So it's just a matter of how available players are and how they are at the game. And especially, for example, like one of the biggest questions, like, is Brock going to start or Mac's going to start? Because Mac at 100% is definitely better than Brock at not 100%. Obviously, the ideal scenario is having Brock at 100%. But if you can have Mac again and he's at 100%, then you're already at a plus. And that's one of the things that's kind of exciting, especially with the defense playing the way it is. If they can limit the offense from the Rams, which is probably their most strong point, I think there's not that much concern until the game's played. I mean, it's one of those things like, I'm not concerned. I just need to play the game. I just need to play the game and see how it goes. Like, I'm not going to worry about what's out of my control. I know I can come. I know it's a divisional team, a divisional opponent. I'm going to come lights out. I'm going to go at them because that win is actually a little more important than the other wins. So I would just say I just need to wait for the game.
Yeah, Jesus, it seems like Tuesday's practice is going to be very telling for what the status is of this team and its health. So what are you looking for in today's practice, the time of recording?
Yeah, basically, I'm going to look for the players that appear on that report, because remember, they have that report also on Monday. Mm-hmm. They don't practice on Monday, but it's an estimation of what practice would have looked like if they had an actual practice. And obviously, like Carlos was saying, you have Brock Purdy obviously on that report with this toe, the soaring in his toe. What he said to Kyle Shanahan over the phone, he spoke to him Sunday night, and he told him, I still feel my toe still is starting to feel a little bit sore, and the same thing happened Monday morning. So the good thing that I saw on that Monday report is that if they had a practice, Mac Jones would have been a full participant. So that's a really good thing, and that's key in this game, because obviously we saw how he performed on those two games where he had to come in as the starting quarterback, and that was the issue before the game against the Jaguars, that both quarterbacks were questionable, because a lot of people say maybe they could have put Mac Jones in, but remember on Friday Mac Jones was questionable, and Brock Purdy was feeling a little better. So that was the issue before the Jaguars game. Now, if you have Mac Jones at least at 100%, you have like faith in him, the confidence in Mac Jones to have him be the starter against the Rams. And obviously you have like that kind of, because on the flip side, the good thing about these short weeks, then you have the weekend off. So Brock Purdy is gonna get extra days to get 100% maybe for the game against the Buccaneers. So that's the good thing. But so that's what I'm gonna be looking for on Tuesday's practice, and also what happens with Jawan Jennings, what happens with Ricky Pearsall. In fact, also Michael Williams. They put him like limited if they had a practice on Monday, but they added an oblique issue. Now it says Michael Williams limited, wrist and oblique. So I'm gonna be looking out for Michael Williams, because definitely now but we lost Nick Bosa for the year. Unfortunately, the defensive line is like all the help it can get.
Yeah, a lot to look for in this one day of practice. All the coverage will be on 49ers.com in both English and Spanish. So we've got you covered today. Now, another thing Kyle acknowledged in his Monday call after the game is that the Niners are averaging just about 3.3 yards per carry. That's uncharacteristic for this team, especially the run game. He mentioned that they haven't had that big explosion of a play. They haven't had anyone really take off. So what do you think needs to click for them to get explosive in the run game again?
Well, I mean, the key to an explosive running game, it's the offensive line. You could have not a super talented running back, but if he has a hole, he's gonna explode it, right? Like we've seen it in the past. And obviously, like, because I also talk about this a lot, one of the reasons, and you hate to do comparisons, but to me it's kind of like the stalwart of why things work. When you see the Philadelphia Eagles from last year, those guys on the offensive line literally were a wall. whether it was for Jalen Hurts to take whatever time he wanted to find his progressions, and he has a great group of core receivers. And Saquon Barkley was able to rack up 2,000 yards from line of scrimmage running because he literally had an avenue every single time that he was playing. Like, he had no problem just walking through it. Like, he will walk through that scrimmage line. So I think it's a very young offensive line, because the truth is that Dominic Puni and now that Colin Colby is starting as left guard, that needs to click. But you need to be able to help Christian. And I mean, Kyle Shanahan's been very good in the past establishing the run and being able to have those plays where he asks a lot. We also know that usually for his offensive linemen, he tries to find them that are very athletic, specifically because he likes them to go out and make a run and make a block and be able to help the running back. So in this case, I feel they just need to tighten it up. I feel like one of the things that is like a room of improvement, not because they've done wrong, because obviously if they had played horribly, you don't win 3 games. But in that specific scenario, I feel they need to tighten it up. There has to be a little more help from the offensive line, so you can find that spot for Christian, for Brian Robinson, because you have 2 really talented backs, and you need to make that little gap. Like, and the advantage that this offensive line has, like, they don't have to make an avenue, right? Like, we're not asking for those 2,000 yards from Saquon Barkley last year. You don't have to have an avenue, but if you have like that little gap, if you can just open the water a little bit for them, it will be really good. And I feel that that's the only thing that it has been missing, because I think it's a mixture between that and obviously, like, most defenses are actually expecting Christian McCaffrey, so they also come and clog those lines a little more, which then opens the game for you. But there has to be a point where it's like, well, if we're clogging this line and they're always finding this second level throw like behind the linebackers, at some point we also need to address it, and that's where you can find Christian. So I think it's just a matter of time of like working on it, and then again, like, the offensive line kind of like putting their pants on and being like, we need to help this. And once they found a couple of explosive plays, I think the more will be coming.
And you need to get also Kittle back. I think Kittle is a big part of the
run game.
Yeah, if we say like Fred Warner is the heart and soul on the defense, I think Kittle is the heart and soul on the offensive side of the ball, because sometimes you see even taking on defensive linemen. Because the way Kittle blocks, there's no other tight end in the league that blocks like Kittle. So I think having Kittle back, obviously he's still on IR, but we'll see if the 49ers can have him back for maybe the game against the Buccaneers. But having Kittle back, I think will help a lot the running game.
Yeah, if we were to look at the other side of the line of scrimmage defensively, Jacksonville's quick passing really limited the 49ers' pass rush. What did you see from that front 7, and how can they adjust moving forward?
I feel like Robert Saleh needs to find a way to be a little more creative on how he faces those fronts, because the reality is that a lot of people might look at Nick Bosa and realize, and I talked with this Jesús a lot. Nick Bosa, when you go look at his stats, probably doesn't have the numbers of sacks like a TJ Watt or a Myles Garrett, but the amount of pressure he puts on the quarterback helps the rest of the defense. That's what makes the other quarterbacks make mistakes. That's how we get interceptions. Sometimes they don't even interceptions, but he just rushes it out and they make the wrong throw, or they're not accurate with it.
They work as a unit.
So not having Nick is a huge blow, and we noticed it in this game. And I felt like this first game was kind of going to be like that, because it's the first game you're without Nick and you kind of like don't see it until you see it. So now that you saw it, now that you know that, it's like, well, I'm putting pressure like this because this is how I put pressure when Nick Bosa's on the field. I realize I can't do that. Now it's going to be a little more creative. We also didn't see a lot of blitzes from the safeties. We didn't see a lot of blitzes from the corners, which is something that Saleh usually does in this particular game. Between you couldn't do it and there was no positions to do it. I think we'll see a lot more of that. That will also open the spot for one of the younger players, maybe Bryce Hobb, that is playing lights out, to actually be able to and to help with that. So there has to be a more of on the scheme. Like now you have to find a way to kind of like mask a little bit the fact that you're missing somebody like Nick. But same, like I feel like even with that, I feel the defense had a lot of 3 and outs. When they were able to put pressure, whether it was just like with pushing the offensive lineman into Trevor Lawrence's face. All those things helped out, and it gave the Niners, even with the mistakes, a position for them to be almost winning the game, because the only real laps the defense had was right after that fumble, that run. I feel that was the one where it was like, where were you guys? The rest of the game, I feel they actually held pretty well, and then they keep giving the offense chances. Like there was even that play that they stopped them, And that's when Brock throws the second interception. Like literally, the defense had just got the ball back in a really good position. Then that's when that happened. So I feel in that sense, like I'm not so worried about the defense, and I feel like to me is one of the keys for the games against the Rams. If the defense can play how they've been playing, these Rams are going to struggle with it, and especially because I feel like as much as you don't put as much pressure on Matthew Stafford, the fact that it's hard for the Rams to establish a run game with how good the secondary has been, how good they're at covering. And even the help from the linebackers, because D. Winters having a fantastic season. I mean, I could not rule out, like, you have D. Winters on a one-on-one with Puka Nacua, and he actually shuts him down. So that's the one thing that I look forward for Thursday.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because the defense, obviously, you cannot replace a guy like Nick Bosa. We know that. But the good thing is that we have Robert Saleh as a defensive coordinator, and he already had experience back in 2020 when he lost Nick Bosa also very, very, very early in the season. It was week 2 against the Jets that year. He lost Nick Bosa for the year, and he was able to still keep the 49ers defense top 10 in the league. I remember a guy like Hyder that year had like 8.5 sacks or something like that. So I think as the season goes, it's not going to take that long. I don't know if it's going to be against the Rams, because obviously we're again in a short week, and the Rams are a very good offense, so it's going to be a big challenge. But I think it's not going to take too long before Robert Saleh figures something out with the defense. Get more creative maybe with the blitzes. Remember in the preseason we saw a lot of Chase Lucas. He sent them on those shark blitzes. Mm-hmm. So I think in Robert Saleh you have a great defensive mind. So I think he's gonna figure it out.
We talked a lot about how those depth players really stepped up. I think that's been the name of the game for the Niners through these first 4 weeks of the season. But some guys really impressed, like Darrell Luter Jr. for Renardo Green, Sam O for Nick Bosa to start. Who really impressed you among some of those depth pieces in this game?
If I had to pick one, I don't know. It's hard because I feel like it's been, like you said, like it's a collective effort on how. I'll say Darrell Luter, because I don't think his presence was felt. Like when you lose one of your starting corners, especially you have your 2 shutdown corners, then you have the nickel. When you lose one of the starting corners and the next one steps up, if he doesn't step up to the plate,
it could be pretty clear.
It's very obvious because you can finish like some long plays. They can get some like big chunks of yards. And I feel that Red Luter like didn't give up that like at all. Like it was not a concept. Like it was nothing that the defense really felt like he lost a step on it. So yeah, I think that in that sense, coming from a starter, like a true starter, that would be the most important one, because I think again, like the one on the defensive line, I think the guys kind of did what they could, but they need a little more chemistry. They need to kind of figure out how things are like kind of going now that Nick isn't there, and that's not necessarily their fault. I feel like Saleh has a very set way of doing things, and he can get creative. He actually progresses. That's why he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, but he kind of like imitated a little bit what he already had, and that was not necessarily working. But yeah, I would say that Darrell did a very good job. Like he shut down most of the plays. Like that, the passing, it was not a non-factor for Jacksonville. I would say, like,
right,
they did, because to me, the biggest play that they got was not even a catch. The referee said it was a catch, but I don't think it was a catch. So that was literally the biggest one on the whole game. And the rest, they were pretty shut down.
And even like the Upton Stout INT, they threw the flag in that one, and that was a big play. I mean, I've been really impressed with the rookies in general, like Upton Stout, Sigle, and then other guys like you mentioned, Darrell Luter, like on the depth. I'll go also with the offense. I know these past games have been tough for Colby. For Connor Colby, but I remember in that game it was against the Saints when he filled in for Ben Barch. He did a really good job, and let's remember he's still a rookie, and he's in a tough situation because the last 2 games also he's been questionable with that groin injury, so he hasn't been 100%. But I believe a lot in Connor Colby. I watched him during training camp, and I like what I have seen from him. These past games have been rough in general for the whole offensive line. But I believe a lot in what he has, in the potential that I see from Connor Colby.
Yeah, we're liking what we're seeing. Now, Thursday Night Football in Los Angeles against the Rams for Week 5. It's a big one, you guys. Our second divisional game for the Rams. It's going to be their first divisional game this season. What are some of the biggest keys in this game?
The most important one is not having Matthew Stafford wait there and forever, like 6-7 seconds, and figure out who's going to throw to, because then he's going to destroy you. So there has to be a way to put pressure quick. There has to be a way to make him feel uncomfortable. Because as good as Matthew Stafford is, and he's always been, and again, I think it's another player that at some point might be in the question for being a Hall of Famer. He tends to make mistakes when the things collapse because he starts getting frustrated.
Right.
So you need to make him frustrated. Luckily for them, they haven't been able to establish a huge running game, even though Kyren Williams is very good at running the ball. So you need to have a lot of pressure from the defensive line, or at least be able to make yourself felt. So if you can do that, then you can limit them. And I feel that's the biggest takeaway from the game, because that's when they can really get you. They can get you. Sean McVay knows Kyle Shanahan in and out. Like, these is two guys that like literally grew up together, basically. So you need to be able to make them feel uncomfortable and not complete an offense. And we saw it last year. Last year, we literally got to this same game in a very similar situation. Back then, the difference was that they were at a worse situation in the injury report. And funny enough, that Marcus Robinson is the one that's destroying us. Because same thing as we just mentioned, right? Like, they had the same mentality of the next man up, and they were able to execute, and we couldn't. And it was that was a very ugly game. But you have to be able to limit their chances in offense, not let them have those long drives, so then they can deplete your defense. But I have trust in the defense. I think the defense has been doing a very good job along that. This is probably their biggest test so far. Because they're gonna find a more like in tune and like oil machine in an offense, and then on offense capitalize, because again, like this is a good Rams defense, but ever since Aaron Donald left, it's a little different. There's some space, there's some opportunities that you can take care of. Unfortunately, we right now we don't have all the pieces healthy, or at least it doesn't sound like it, because that's a big impact. So hopefully they'll be back, or at least we'll find a way to how to do it. And I think on the defensive part, if you can limit those drop passes, it's a big difference. Like I think that was one of those things. Like, it was that game, you had that one game. And like I mentioned, to me, it's better to have that game either in the NFL. Is two ways to have that game. You either have it really early in the season, and you're like, all right, I got out of my system. We didn't like this. We play horrible, or we did these things very wrong, and now we move forward and we construct. Or when you have everything said and done, and it's like, well, like kind of like what happened to us with that game against the Ravens in 23. I mean, it was the Ravens. It was a very competitive team. It was almost at the end of the season. You were qualified to the playoffs anyway. Like, it's not a big deal. You can, reset and move forward. So I think this game was a perfect moment to reset, and I feel the team will at least reset it for this next one.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a challenge, because I believe the Rams are very good, and the 49ers are not at full strength with all the injuries. But I think there's ways to come out of LA with the win, right? First of all, I agree with Carlos what you were saying about applying pressure. So find a way to get to Matthew Stafford, because then it's going to be, if you're not able to do that, then Puka Nacua is playing really well. And who's going to cover Puka Nacua?
And they had Davante Adams now.
And Davante Adams, but especially Puka Nacua, the way he's playing is amazing. So you had to find a way to get to Matthew Stafford to obviously break that connection. And also on the defensive side of the ball, aside from that, not the defensive side, the offensive side of the ball, you had to establish the run, because the Rams pass rush is very good. So if you're not able to jesús the run, which that has been the issue these first 4 games, it's gonna be a long day against that Rams pass rush.
Jesús, Carlos, a busy week ahead. Practice today on Tuesday, travel on Wednesday, game on Thursday. Guys, thank you so much for joining me to unpack everything that happened on Sunday as we look ahead to Week 5 Thursday Night Football. Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Anytime.
Always a pleasure.
Though the 49ers came up short in Week 4, I caught up with tight end Luke Farrell before the game to hear his thoughts on facing his former team and really embracing a bigger role this season. Here's that pregame conversation. What's up, Faithful? This is your 49ers team reporter, Briana and Jeannel, sitting with tight end Luke Farrell right before the Jaguars matchup in Week 4. Luke, congrats on the first 3 wins of the season, and thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, this game should be a fun one for you because this is your first season playing with the 49ers after starting your career in Jacksonville. What's it like preparing to face your former team?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's going to be a lot of familiar faces out there. See a lot of guys on tape that I played against in practice every day. So it'll be fun and really interesting to have that experience.
Yeah, definitely. You've signed with the 49ers this offseason. Let's go back to that moment for a bit. What drew you to this team, and what has the transition been like coming over to the West Coast?
Yeah, part of it, they were eager to have me. They were coming after me pretty early in the process, right when it opened up. And, it's hard to be mad about playing in an offense like this. For an organization that I'd only heard good things about from everybody that had been here and that I had run into, and then I played with them and came here after. So kind of all that put together kind of made it an easy decision for me.
Amazing. Yeah. You come over with Mac Jones, who's been a big part of this offense for these past 2 games. Tell me about the dynamic between you two and what it's like having him with you here in the Bay.
It's been great. It's been great to see him, be able to step up and get that opportunity and ball out. So it's awesome. I got to know him well last year and kind of continue that this year. And he's just, an awesome guy to have in the locker room. He's super positive, like having fun. And then when it's time to lock in, he's gonna do his thing. So it's great.
Yeah, it seems like you two are both such a perfect fit for this locker room here in the Bay Area, and it's been so fun watching you guys ball out in these past 3 games. Now, offensive line coach Chris Forster has praised you as one of the best blocking tight ends that he's ever seen. How much pride do you take in that, especially coming from an established O-line coach?
A ton. I hadn't heard him say that, but it means a lot. The ultimate compliment I could get is from an offensive lineman or an O-line coach or, an opposing D-line. So that's incredible. And I take a ton of pride in that. It's what I've hung my hat on my career and what kind of got me to this point. So it's something I'm going to continue to, take a ton of pride in.
Yeah. As we look more at that tight end group with George Kittle sidelined, you've had the chance to step up. How have you approached that challenge, and what has it been like sharing reps with guys like Jake Tonjes and Braden Willis?
Yeah, that's just part of it. It's going to happen. It happened kind of to us last year with Evan Ingram. It's similar, especially as a tight end, you got to be, malleable. You got to be able to fit in wherever they need you and not hesitate. And I think that's what's been awesome about our unit this year is we haven't hesitated. You've seen Jake step up and just kind of the plays he's been able to make, after not getting that opportunity, and then just as soon as it's handed him, he just didn't blink. And as a unit, I think that's, kind of something we've been really proud of the first 3 games.
Yeah, I was looking a lot at your career leading up to this interview, and it seems like since your pro day at Ohio State, people have been asking about flexing your receiving abilities on top of your elite play as a blocker. You scored your first touchdown with San Francisco in Week 2. How special was that moment for you?
Very. It was a long time coming, something you always think about. So to have that happen and be able to, spike the ball after was pretty great.
Yeah. Tell me more about the maybe comments you got from family, friends, former coaches as they reflected on that moment for you.
Just super happy for me. I have a really great, support system around me, my family, close friends, that my mom was immediately furious because they weren't there in person. They were at home watching, but no, they were so happy and just proud. And it's incredible to, be in a position to make them proud and see that come true and all that. And so it was great.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Now, let's talk Jaguars. Having spent 4 seasons in Jacksonville, I know a lot has changed this offseason, but what stands out to you about that defense, and what kind of a challenge do they present this week?
I think they play really hard. Josh Allen is, he's super high motor. He's a great leader on that defense, and he's going to, come after you every play. And I think the rest of the team follows that. Fourier is the same way. He kind of commands the rest of them, and they play aggressive and they come off the ball, and that's just, something they do really well.
Nice. Now, as the team is preparing, do you find yourself sharing little insights from your time there with your teammates this week? Have any moments like that come up at all?
Here and there. The coaches kind of handle it for the most part, but if they got a question on specific, like how a guy likes to play, I can give a little 2 cents there when I can. But yeah, I think we're all pretty prepared for it.
Yeah, that should be fun. Now, we're 3 weeks into the season now, and the immediate reaction to each win has been that this team is resilient, that this team is gritty. I talked to Kyle Juszczyk after last week's game. He said that the offense is still piecing things together, which is exciting. Tell me your thoughts on the state of the offense and how you guys are looking to show up this Sunday.
Yeah, I think resiliency is kind of the perfect word for it, and that's exactly what you need, especially early on in the season. It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to have everything running smoothly. There's going to be bumps and issues that come up. So be able to endure and bounce back after a negative and just keep pushing is the most important thing at this time. So I think if we keep carrying that, we're going to be just fine. I mean, being able to have the attitude to win those games and pull those out, it's only going to help us in the long run.
Yeah, on that point of the team still piecing things together, what's been the main focus this week as you look ahead to Jacksonville this Sunday?
Kind of what it has been every week thus far is just execution. Being on top of our stuff where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there, and then at that point, we're going to come off the ball and play hard. So the execution part is the biggest.
Now let's take you inside the action. Linebacker Fred Warner was mic'd up for the Week 4 matchup. Let's take a look and listen to everything he brought to the field.
That white at home. Got that white at home. All right, just so y'all know, I'm mic'd up today. If you want to be on TV, just hang with me. All right? You want to be on TV, just hang with me. Them boys in white at home. Let's go. Come on. Move. Move. Yeah. I need it. Best in 103. 1, 2, 3. Best in the world. Let me see that. Let's go. Hey, fellas, the message is going to be the same every week, man. We lead the way all the way. And understand, every single week, man, we prep for these big moments. Play our style. Run and hit. Run and hit. They need us every freaking play. All right? Let's give it to these boys. Give them exactly what they want. Best 1, 2, 3. Let's go, Fred. Come on, man. Lead them, baby. Lead them. I got it. Yeah, baby. That's us. Turn it up. And the home of the brave. Hey, lots of communication today, huh? So everybody just hang with me. Take it one snap at a time. One snap at a time and let's stack them. Had the ball on your mind. It's going to come today.
And so here comes the 49ers offense. Purdy rolls left, throws out to Juszczyk in the flat, falls down, gets up, first down, gets a block from Jennings across midfield. What a play by Juszczyk.
Jeez. Nothing like an explosive to start the game with a fullback to the flat.
Purdy under center. He takes the snap, rolls, play action, now floats it right. Luke Farrell, he makes the catch. First down.
Revenge game. Luke Farrell. Hey, we need all 11. We need all 11, huh? Y'all stay with me all day. Y'all stay with me all day. Loose. Go. Loose. Hey, act like you're holding the ball. They like it, sir. Act like you're holding the ball.
Oh, don't do it like that, Fred.
Two backs in the game now, one split out to the right. And now Etienne's going to shift behind Trevor Lawrence, who's going to take the shotgun, spin, throw it to Etienne out in the flat, and the 49ers then jump on him out near midfield.
Yeah. That's good.
As this crowd encourages the 49ers defense on the Jags opening drive. Trevor Lawrence, straight drop, play action, waits, throws. It is batted away and nearly intercepted. Third down for the Jaguars. Shotgun to Lawrence. Good pocket, throws over the middle, caught by the tight end Strange. And it's a weight room play out to the 40-yard line where he is shy of the line to gain.
Let's go.
Trevor Lawrence is under center. He turns and gives. Travis Etienne ripped down Bugatti Bryce in the backfield.
Bugatti Bryce. Let's go. No matter what, just get him on the ground. Just get him on the ground. We live another day. That's it. I'm punching at that, so I need everybody getting to the rock. All right? One play at a time, man. Everything we got.
Attached to the left as Lawrence takes it from under center, turns, gives ETN, head down. Niners showing a little pressure. Fred Warner is hovering over the center. Now he's going to bail out. Four-man rush, shotgun. Lawrence pulls it down and throws it over the middle.
Hey, we got a 2-minute coming up. We got a 2-minute drill coming up. This is 3 and out right here. This is it. This is it. One play at a time, man. Use your hands in coverage. Put your cleats in the ground. All right, work together. Let's go. Let's communicate. Let's hunt. We need all 11 to the rock. We got to get our team something to get inspired about right here. Play inspirational. Play inspired right here. We got to inspire our stadium.
Trevor Lawrence out of the shotgun, takes the snap, and just not on the same page.
All right, that's one. That's one. Let's go 2.
Lawrence in the shotgun. He takes it, quick throw out to Tim Patrick. He gets clipped, he gets hit, he gets spun down. Upton Stout, 3rd and 11, under 3 minutes to go in this second quarter. Can the Niners defense get off the field? Trevor Lawrence is in the shotgun. 4-man rush. Lawrence straight back. Drops, time, pats it, throws, check down, and it's knocked away by Fred Warner.
Woo! They want to find me so bad. It'll find me at the right time. No, it'll find me at the right time. God's timing. He playing with me right now. I might need to switch gloves at half. Get these bad mojo gloves off me. Go! One of y'all. On him. On him. He nervous. He nervous. He nervous. Yo, that's good. That's good. Woo!
Well, they got 5 seconds on the play clock.
Hey, get in there, get in there.
2, Trevor Lawrence under center. Does he know it? 1, 0. He did not get it off, and flags come in. There was some movement, so it's either a false start or a delay.
Let's go! Jesús! Hey, let's go! Let's go!
Purdy's under center. Play action. Inside pitch, McCaffrey. He makes the catch. Makes a man miss. Breaks the tackle. And McCaffrey is in. Finally, a touchdown. Hey! 49ers. They're going for 2. They trail 17-12 to try and make it a 3-point game. Bourne goes in motion left to right. Purdy's in the shotgun. McCaffrey now motions out from beside him. He takes the snap. Purdy looking, bouncing. Now he's going to roll out to his right. Back pedal to the 15. Back foot throw. End zone. Jennings! Caught it! Caught it. He converts. Ball sits at the 32. Quick snap. Dropping back out of the shotgun. Lawrence pumps, pressure, throws, check down to Hunter. Ball popped out. Fred Warner punched it out.
Most forced fumbles in franchise history.
Fred Warner punch.
Fred Warner punch?
Fred Warner punch.
Yeah, that ain't too bad right there. We playing our ass off. We just got to keep going, huh? We focusing on what we can control. That's it. One play at a time. It ain't going to happen all at once. One at a time. One at a time.
Purdy takes the snap, drops back, good pocket, over the middle, high, way up there. DeMarcus Robinson saved that ball from danger.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. Make a play and turn up a little.
It's 3rd down and 5. Shotgun, empty backfield. Purdy takes, pumps, pressure, pulls it down. Now extends, throws, and what a catch. They needed that. He's needed that.
Dance! Start dancing.
Now they set up the tight end screen left. There's Tonjes. Tonjes is into space. The 5. He dives. End zone. Touchdown. 49ers.
Hey, these are moments you dream of right here. These are moments you dream of. One at a time. One at a time. One at a time. One at a time. We need everybody. We need everybody. Yep. You winners?
Your experience. Have a great rest of the night.
You know that. Ah! Happy for you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Keep going, huh? Yeah, you too, bro. Nicky Mo, huh? Good to see you too, buddy. Yes, sir. Keep going, huh? This life right here, boy. We back. We back. We back. We back.
We are just moments away from Thursday Night Football. I'm going to take you inside the locker with me to hear how the team is getting ready for that Week 5 matchup against the Los Angeles Rams.
I ain't bet them.
How do you feel about him wearing it anyways?
Well, I'm happy. You know, it's always good to see people repping the Tide. So, you know, especially those Georgia boys. You know, it's always good to see them in some Alabama gear.
So, what got him to wear it?
They lost. They got beat.
He just pledged to do that if they lost?
Yeah. So usually, you know how the rivals do. Like we can't bet like what we want to bet. So we'll tell them like, yo, like if y'all lose, y'all gotta wear, you know, our attire and vice versa. So they lost, so they gotta wear Alabama gear for the whole day.
Like that. How are you feeling about this week, the Rams, and just kind of where the rushing game is in general?
I'm feeling good about it. And I just feel like we're on the doorstep to, you know, just really getting the run game popping, and you know, no better opportunity than this week to just get it popping off, you know.
What have you learned about Christian's work ethic, his game, and just how he attacks everything?
He's very consistent. You know, he shows up to work every single day, and you know, that's the reason why he's who he is and why he's a great player. You know, he's super consistent, and you know, he's always into, you know, just, you know, sharpening his craft. You know, I've just been able to watch him do that, you know, in the time that I've been here, and it's been good.
Do you guys have to prepare differently at all, considering you don't know who the quarterback is quite yet?
No, I think the preparation stay the same. Like, we just got to focus on, you know, what's being installed and how we got to do our job, you know, as a team. And, you know, regardless of what quarterback is in the game, you know, we got to do our part in the game.
Kind of short week turnaround. What have you noticed so far? What have you done differently so far?
It's a fast tempo. We're learning third down, short yardage at the same time. We're learning first and second down. So trying to just learn the playbook as best as I can, especially going into this week, learning the game plan. So just trying to adapt to it for the short week.
And how are you feeling physically just with the short week too?
Me personally, I feel good. I always make sure to stay on top of my body to make sure I'm good each and every week. So I feel healthy, and I'm ready to go on Thursday.
How do you feel like you're adjusting to the system? I mean, each week you're making a play out there. So how do you feel like you're going and adjusting and progressing within the system?
I feel I'm progressing fast. I feel I'm going out there and playing confident. I feel I got the playbook down. Obviously, there's looks I'm going to have to learn on the fly, but I feel I'm adjusting fine. I feel I need to play better than what I have been, even though I have been playing good, but I feel I hold myself to a higher standard, so I want to play to that standard.
This is one of the first times you're playing against an older quarterback. Is it sort of a pinch me moment when you see Matt Stafford over there?
I wouldn't say a pinch me moment, but I've been watching him for a long time, so he's been in the game for a long time, so he's going to find ways to pick me out, and I'm going to have to counter that. So he's a skilled quarterback, and I'm going to be a skilled DB.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brock and Mac were just talking about the Rams defensive line. I mean, probably from more a pass rush perspective, but just the spirit and you know, I guess the relentlessness that they play with. I mean, what sticks out to you when you look at them?
Yeah, I think just that. You know, they play well together. They play hard, not just in pass rush, but in the run game, and they tie it all together. So definitely a big challenge that you know, we're going to have to keep an eye on.
What's the key on a short week to prepare?
I'll just be extremely diligent mentally. Take care of your body, get back to 100% as quick as possible, but just make sure you're continuing to go over everything because there's a lot to install all at once. And, you know, just got to, in order to play sound football in a short week, you just got to mentally be locked in.
Your first gets cut out of your routine.
Say again?
What gets cut out of your routine in a short week?
3 days.
Your first full game with this team, or first game where you had a full week of prep, was down at SoFi, and you had all those touchdowns in different fashions. How busy was that week of preparation and looking back on it in retrospect?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was definitely a blur of a week. You know, it was good to get a full week instead of just 2 days when I first got here for the Chiefs game. So it was great to get a full week, and, you know, a lot of credit to Bobby T and a lot of the coaches who helped me get there, because it's a lot to install and a lot to learn in a week. But I remember it was a great feeling, great winning locker room after that game, and we had a bye after that too, so I could kind of get my bearings.
Were you surprised that they were even able to install a trick play, given just how hectic that must have been?
No, I mean, that's, those ones are easy to remember. It's they stick out whenever you're installing them, so I was prepared for that.
Have you ever had a season or even a stretch of the season like this one where the receiving yards are outpacing your rushing yards in the way they are right now?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers.
Is it different at all to prepare for a team that you play every year, a couple of years? The coaches have been at each place for a long time. You guys know a lot about each other. Does that make it any easier at all to prepare?
I mean, nothing's easier necessarily. I just think for when you play a divisional opponent that and they know you, it just comes down to being sound. Playing mistake-free football and then mindset.
Christian, I know the answer is you can always be better and improve, et cetera, but I mean, it's another run game question, but I mean, when you look at it, I mean, there often doesn't seem to be tons of room, for you to roam, but do you see opportunities like, should I miss this? Or, I mean, do you put it, like, how much do you think, I don't know, could you be better to help this run game?
Definitely. I think, whether or not you're leading the league in rushing or not, you can always be better. Every runner was going to say the same thing. So I definitely think, we can all be better. I can be better, and, we're close though.
Christian, I saw the clip that you had on George's show where you thought you were going to be traded to the Rams. At that time, was that something that was exciting to you? And then how quick was the emotion to be traded here instead?
It was such a blur, and I had heard so many different things that I tried to just focus on being where my feet were, because I still didn't know whether or not I was going to get traded. Like, I practiced Wednesday and Thursday for the Panthers, and then, I'd heard rumors, but, I'm still preparing to play for a team, and so it was kind of a weird, mental situation to be in. And I just said, whatever happens, happens. I stopped reading into, what people were saying, and just, whatever was going to happen was going to happen. And obviously, when I came here, I was extremely thrilled.
Is it a weird mental space, just out of curiosity, to be in when the run game is kind of struggling, and then you coming off a loss going down against a rival? Is it the same there or not really?
You mean like?
Are you like thinking and reflecting on like, what am I, or what can I do to change the way we're producing in the run game, or what can this person do, or what can we do as a team? Are you mentally reflecting on that going into this one?
I think, look, I've had stretches in the run game where I've had like 35 yards rushing, then 40, then 38, and then, it feels like you can't run the ball, and those are in the middle of the season. But the reality of the situation isn't always, that's not always the truth. And sometimes you are just one guy off, or sometimes you are an arm tackle away from breaking a couple long ones, and all of a sudden you have big games, and you just don't know when that's going to happen. So I try to just correct mistakes and capitalize on strengths. But each game is different, and in the run game, each play has a life of its own. And so you can't predict, you can't think that it's going to be one way or another. You have to, treat it as that. Treat it as, one play at a time.
Good. Let's do it. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I like to be like up to stat one day.
Actually,
Hall of Famers.
I'm a dip right. Never mind. No, I'm not.
Uh-oh. Here, go ahead. Move
I'm
that.
try to pull some acrobatics, but it's okay. Sure. Yeah, that's
What's the big change in your approach on a short week? Anything changed for you?
I guess it's just less days. You got to cram a lot of things in only a couple days of prep. Getting the body back is number one. Usually takes all 6 days to get ready get your body ready for a game on the next Sunday. And so how can you find a way to expedite that process on a short week?
It's better, like, if you're going to have a loss like you did Sunday, that it is a short week?
Yeah, of course you'd rather win, on a short week, but no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it is good to, try to find a way to get that bad taste out of your mouth and, get back right back out there.
You've been watching Puka for a lot of years. How have you seen his game grow from some BYU to season?
Something about those BYU guys, man. He so happy for him. Hopefully, this is his worst outing of the year, and they can continue his success later on. But He just does all the little things that most receivers don't, like just as small as getting involved in the run game, the way that he run blocks. The run after catch, when he has great hands to be able to transition when he does catch the ball, and then running through contact. The energy that he plays with, I know is inspirational to his teammates. And so, yeah, man, he's done a phenomenal job just only in a short amount of time.
When you watched this kind of ceiling for him from back when you saw him in college, or is this exceeding you what you thought he would do?
No, I think nobody could have seen this type of success that he's seen. Only he knows that. Only he knew that, right? I think the Rams probably saw something in him, but it'd be silly to say that anybody would have thought that he'd be as great as he's been.
You know him pretty well.
Yeah, I played with his older brother, Nacua, at BYU for 3 years. So me and Puka had some conversations right before the draft. Yeah, great kid.
What do you think has enabled him to take what you saw from him in college and translate it to this kind of success in the NFL?
I think a big part of it as a young player is like having the confidence of knowing that you belong. I think that's literally just the start of it all, because just speaking from experience, when I came in, it was like so overwhelming playing against guys that I had watched on TV for so long, and it's like, do I really belong? And so for him, I think from day one, he was out there. I think had back-to-back games of like 10-plus receptions, right? And it was a guy that Matt Stafford could rely on from day one, which spoke to his preparation level. Even having a guy like Matt Stafford rely on him with a guy like Cooper Kupp being out there just spoke to how ready he was for his moment. And he's continued to obviously stay humble and finding ways to get better in his game through his first, 3 years.
As far as wide receivers, where does he rank in difficulty to tackle, bring down to the ground? I don't think you've ever had a chance to tackle Debo. Right?
Yeah, no, me and Debo had our little thuds in practice and whatnot. But no, Puka, I truly believe that's one of the things that makes him special is his willingness to seek out contact as a receiver. You don't hear that a lot about receivers around the league, and I think obviously you spoke about Debo, and he's another one of those guys that's not afraid to seek it out. So, yeah, man, I don't know, something about BYU, Polynesian combination, something like that.
Speaking, are there parallels between, would your former teammates or guys who watch you in college, would they be surprised at the success you've had? Are there parallels between you and Puka?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be shocked if somebody were to tell me, hey, yeah, I watched Fred at BYU and I knew he'd be good in the NFL. It's like, nobody really knows until you're there doing it, right? Puka, was drafted in the 5th round, and he's a superstar, already. So it completely speaks to his work and what he's been able to do behind the scenes that people probably don't see. So it's all kudos to him.
Fred, because you mentioned having that moment when you were young of feeling you didn't know if you belonged when you played against guys that you grew up watching, and some guys in the locker room this time around who will be out there with you kind of in the same position, what was it that clicked for you to help you feel like you belonged, and are you having those conversations with them heading into this one?
I mean, it was a matter of just making big plays, in the NFL, to know all right, so I know I can do it, and then just the consistency of it all and trying to see how far you could take it. I know a lot of these guys have way more confidence in their abilities than I did back at that time, so they're in a much better position to continue to thrive in our scheme and in what they're doing for our team.
Do you remember your reaction when he was taken by the Rams, and did his brother send you a text or anything, take it easy on him?
No, I don't remember much. Heck of a player, man. Hopefully, like I said, worst game against us this week. All right, yeah, you got it.
Joining me now is Prime's Thursday Night Football analyst and 49ers alum Richard Sherman to preview this Week 5 Thursday Night Football matchup against the Rams. Sherman, thanks for joining us today.
No problem. My pleasure.
Now, this is the 49ers' second divisional game. For the Rams, this will be their first. These games always mean the most. They're always competitive. Matthew Stafford looked solid against the Colts, delivering in critical moments. From a cornerback's perspective, what's the key to disrupting a veteran QB like Matthew Stafford?
Well, you're not going to confuse him. So it's just being sound and doing your job, trusting the coordinator, trusting Salah, putting you in the right calls, putting you in the right position, just doing your job well. I guess you can try to disguise it a little bit if it helps with the receivers, but these are two of the best receivers in the league, and Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. So it's going to come down to tackling. Puka Nacua is a strong receiver who gets his yak and breaks tackles and catches passes in critical moments. So you're going to have to do your best to contain him. And Devontae Adams is a nightmare one-on-one. So they're going to have to be on their P's and Q's.
Exactly. To that point, looking at his targets, Puka Nacua plays with toughness, great separation. What makes him a unique challenge for this 49ers defense, especially young guys like Upton Stout?
Well, he's got strong hands. He's a strong runner. I mean, a lot of the things that made Debo really, really difficult to stop are the same things that make Puka tough to stop. He gets a lot of targets, and he's not going down with one guy. And so, you got to be aware of where he is on the field at all times. He's in the run game. He's blocking hard. He's catching the ball, and he's running hard. They're going to him a lot. So it's one of those games you're going to strap your helmet up in your cleats.
Definitely. Now, looking at the Niners offensive side, the engine of their offense has been Christian McCaffrey, over 100 total yards in all 4 games so far. What makes him so difficult to defend?
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, he's a guy that's going to be dynamic in the run game. He's going to be involved in the pass game. He's going to be a security blanket for the quarterback. He's going to find a way to break tackle and get the hidden yards that are there on the field. He's an incredibly smart football player, and that shows up in every aspect of his game.
Yeah. Now, Sean McVay emphasized how Kyle Shanahan's teams are always physical up front. How much does the D-line have to set the tone in this game?
Yeah, it's gonna be a big part of it. Obviously, the Rams have an incredibly talented D-line. The lack of pressures last weekend against the Jags was evident. So they're going to have to go out there and send a message early and often that that was a aberration and that was a fluke, and that this D-line, even without Nicholas John Bosa, is going to be an issue and something to be contend with.
Yeah, on Monday, McVay, he talked about how the 49ers fans usually show up to these LA road games. How important is that environment for the 49ers who are on the road, especially on a short week?
No question. It's huge. Levi South is what they call it, I believe. I know that Niner fans take pride in that, and the faithful will be down there loud and proud, and I'm excited to see that. But it's huge. It's a huge advantage. It's a huge demoralizing factor for the home team, to see the opponent's fans coming out and supporting the way that the faithful do. And I'm sure the team appreciates it, even being on the road, feeling like they're at home.
Yeah, from your perspective, what are some of the most important matchups in this game?
It's going to be the Rams defensive line versus the Niners offensive line. There was a lot of pressure on Brock Purdy last week. They're going to have to rectify that. They're going to have to find some holes and open some holes against this Rams front. They had some young, talented kids, starting with Jared Verse. So that's going to be a matchup to watch. Matchup we already talked about, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams versus the 49ers secondary. And whether it's Upton Style, whether it's Diamador, whoever's out there is going to have to deal with these guys and do a good job in order for the 49ers to pull out a win. Another matchup will be vice versa, the 49ers defensive line versus the Rams offensive line. They'll have to find a way to get some pressure on Stafford. If he's comfortable and he has time, he's tough to deal with.
Definitely. Now, these Thursday games, they require clarity, they require decisiveness. As a former player, what did you focus on to most simplify things for yourself in these short weeks?
Just the fundamentals of the game, especially as a defensive player, just running and hitting. These are division opponents, which makes it a lot easier. You see them so often, you know them so well. There's not going to be a lot of surprises or confusion about what Sean McVay intends on doing to San Francisco 49ers. So I think there's, obviously that level of familiarity helps on a short week because you don't have to go super deep into game planning. Obviously, he's put some new wrinkles in every year, every team does, but for the most part, you understand who you're facing fundamentally. So that's what you focus on. You focus on just doing your job well, tackling well, running well, enthusiasm, energy, and trying to be as healthy as you can going into it.
Yeah, amazing. Finally, Sherm, you've been in these 49ers-Rams matchups before. What makes this rivalry so unique?
I think it starts with the coaches. You know, two great play callers who know each other incredibly well, two systems that are similar, and especially in the fundamental aspects of them, and a lot of great players on both sides of the football. Quarterback play is going to be at a high level, and it's going to be fun to watch. It's fun to watch two teams that know each other well because it'll come down to the details that win this game.
This will absolutely be a fun one. Sherm, thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you on Thursday night.
No problem. See you Thursday.